Good evening, YouTube. Welcome back to you and to me. This is Mike. I've been away for a little while. Not for any special reason. I just kind of felt like taking a break. Ran out of stuff to talk about. But I'm back with a kind of a long update. I'll try not to keep you too long here. 2 orders from the Kino-Lorber Spring Madness sale and some other things that I picked up. But first, let me show you this t-shirt I got. This is so cool. You guys will love it. Found this on eBay, and it's original. I don't know who these people are, but check this out. Is that cool or what? And if that's not enough, here's the back. Huh? Oh, man. Now this is a keeper. It only cost me $475. I'm kidding. It didn't cost that much. It was $400. I intend to wear this to Mass on Sunday. No, I'm not. I'm not that crazy. Okay, so I picked up a whole bunch of stuff last couple of months. And let me show you, first of all, stuff that is not Kino related. Thanks, first of all, to my good friend Joe Mayo over at Mayo's Movie Mayhem. That's the name of his channel now. He did a video where he talked about this very cool film called Love from a Stranger, starring Anne Harding and Basil Rathbone, a film I had never seen. I don't think I'd even heard of it. And he gave us such a glowing recommendation that I sent away for this from Sinister Cinema. He has a copy from Alpha Video, and you know their quality is not always that great. This is pretty good, actually, as far as the imagery and the sound. Very watchable. Great movie. I was surprised. Now, Basil Rathbone is a great actor, very strong, dramatic actor, but he plays crazy in this really well. And Anne Harding, who is his victim, has to start playing crazy at the end to keep up with him, and it is a very good movie. So, big thanks to Joe. I appreciate the recommendation. I also picked this movie up. This is a film that I think everybody likes. This is Duel, directed by Steven Spielberg. His first feature film, which is a made-for-TV movie, starring Dennis Weaver as the guy who's driving through the California mountains, minding his own business, and gets behind this big-ass truck that is spewing smoke and exhaust all over the place. And he tries to pass the truck in the middle of the mountains, and he manages to do it, and the truck comes after him. You guys, I think everybody has seen this. It's such a great movie. I remember seeing this when it first came on television and never forgot it. And it's been a lot of years since I've seen it, and it doesn't get old. It doesn't lose its impact. So I'm very happy to have this Duel. I picked up 3 movies from an outfit called Press Play DVDs, and it's one of these bootleg outfits where they find VHS copies, or they copy things from television and make bootlegs of films that are not available in any other place, at least not that I've been able to find these titles. So the first one I wanted this title for years because the title is so intriguing. The Devil Thumbs a Ride, starring Lawrence Tierney, who is just one of the best bad guys, gangsters from cinema history. This is the late 1940s, and it's a B movie. It's not very long, and it wasn't disappointing at all. It was really a very enjoyable film. Lawrence Tierney is absolutely at his it's the same on the back. Okay, he's at his psychotic best, and it's a very cool film. Lawrence Tierney is one of the guys who actually lived a crazy life outside of the studio, being drunk all the time, getting in fights. Very interesting character, but very cool film. I also picked up this classic film that I remember seeing on TV back when I was a kid, from 1957. This is The Bachelor Party, and it stars Don Murray, Carolyn Jones, and it's a very interesting film about a young guy who is, feeling the pressure of marriage and impending fatherhood, and he goes to a bachelor party. Well, friends have a bachelor party, and they go out drinking and bar hopping and all that, and he's just having sort of a very not even a midlife crisis, because he's very young. He's still in his 20s, but he is feeling the pressure of life, and he's just kind of freaking out. and trying to decide what he wants to do with his life in this one night of partying. It's a very good movie. Okay, and finally, this is a sort of a low budget, sort of a juvenile delinquent film, but not quite, called Youth Runs Wild, which also features Lawrence Tierney, this time in a fairly positive role. He's not really a gangster, although he's a little bit shady. And the stars are Benita Granville and who are these other people? That's about the only one I know. Other Benita Granville, who was a very famous child actress in the 1930s, who kept making films up into the 1940s. So that was a lot of fun. And I also picked this up at Walmart. This is a steelbook of The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Okay, and it's a Blu-ray. It has the yeah, this is falling apart here. It actually has 4K, which does me no good whatsoever, and also the Blu-ray, which contains both the 3D version, there are no glasses, and the normal version, and some extra features as well. I did not need to get this. I already have 3 DVD copies, including 2 of the Universal Legacy series compilations of The Creature from the Black Lagoon, so I did not need to get this. I just picked it up because I thought I had to have it. I had buyer's remorse as I was walking out to the car. So anyway, but it wasn't that expensive. Let's get to the Kino stuff. Let me show you first of all the ones that I've actually watched already, and some I've seen before, such as The House of the Long Shadows, starring Vincent Price, Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, John Carradine, and Desi Arnaz. I never miss a Desi Arnaz picture. And this is a lot of fun. Remember seeing this back when it first came out to the theater. Have not seen it since, but it's great seeing all these horror guys, especially Christopher Lee. Okay. Next up is a John Cassavetes film called Gloria, starring his wife Jenna Rollins, which I remember seeing back in the day. Haven't seen this in a long time, and it did not disappoint in seeing it again. Great performance by Jenna Rollins. And Lawrence Tierney is actually in this. I didn't realize it. I don't think I ever realized it before either when I saw it years ago, but he actually has a very small part as a bartender in this film. I didn't recognize him at all until I saw the cast list. So, Lawrence Tierney. Here's a movie called Die Screaming Marianne, starring Susan George and a bunch of other people. I picked this up simply because I thought it might be fun to see a horror movie, because the title is so intriguing, and it was one of the biggest disappointments I can remember in a long time. It should be called Don't Watch This Movie, Marianne. It's just, anyway, I made a very snarky post on my Instagram about this, so I won't go on and on about it, but not a good movie. I will give this one away. Next up is The Carpetbaggers, the last film for Alan Ladd, also with George Peppard, Elizabeth Ashley, Carol Baker, and I have not seen this since probably the 1960s, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. You know, there were a lot of things I did not remember, and I wasn't even sure if I had seen it all the way through, but as the film got toward the end, I realized that I had seen it, and yeah, great performance by Alan Ladd. Good chance to see him again. This is a film called The Maids, starring Glenda Jackson and Susanna York, based on a story by Jean Genet, or is it Genet? I'm not sure. I don't know what to say about this. I had seen the previews to this Kino release on other Kino releases, and I thought, wow, this is like a tour de force by these 2 great actresses. It's just madness. Absolute madness. I don't know how to describe it, but it's fascinating. A lot of fast talking in this one. Anyway, The Maids. Next up is a film I had never heard of called Split Image. Once again, Elizabeth Ashley. This also has, let's see, Michael O'Keefe, Karen Allen, James Woods, Elizabeth Ashley, and Brian Dennehy, and Peter Fonda. And this is a movie about a young guy who gets caught up in a religious cult, which is not really Christianity. It's something totally different. Kind of like the Moonies, but not really. Very similar to a movie from the early 1980s called A Ticket to Heaven with Nick Mancuso and people I can't remember their names. Anyway, pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's a theme that I enjoy. And Peter Fonda is terrific in a supporting role as the cult leader. So, yeah, good movie. Odds Against Tomorrow, Harry Belafonte, Robert Ryan. Oh, wow. Shelley Winters. Gloria Graham, Ed Begley, Kim Hamilton, directed by Robert Wise. I had never seen this before. It is one of the best films I've seen in years. Film noir. Talk about explosive endings. I mean, really. I am so glad I finally got a chance to see this. All right. Next up is a little obscure film called The Exiles, which is all about Native Americans living in the big city and trying to make a life outside of their reservation cultural homeland, but they can't leave it behind, even though they're wearing modern clothes and they're hanging out in taverns and listening to modern music. It's really fascinating. I had heard about this for a long time, and I'm glad I finally got a chance to see it. This is from 1959, I believe. And this is Boris Karloff in The Ape, which I had never seen, and I need to watch it again because I sat there and I fell right to sleep watching it. So I played it again and started snoozing again. I think there was something wrong with me that night. It's not necessarily Boris or the film, but I will watch it again. So I feel kind of like I insulted one of my heroes here. So sorry, Boris. Next up is Coming Home from 1978. Jane Fonda, John Voight, Bruce Dern, Robert Carradine, Penelope Milford. I had seen this before also when it first came out and enjoyed it thoroughly. And I enjoyed it again. Very moving film. I find most of the performances to be very, very effective, especially Bruce Dern. He's fantastic. I think Jane Fonda is probably the least effective of those star names. But yeah, very good movie and has a great soundtrack as well. It's one of the first movies I can remember that just played music all the way through it, not ending. All the hits from the 60s, And anyway, all right. Next up, I bought two more of the film noir compilations. This is volume 5. Also bought this is volume 11. Okay, so this has, let's see, films which I do not consider to be noir whatsoever, but I'm still glad to have them. Because of You with Loretta Young, Jeff Chandler, pure soap opera, but fun. Outside the Law with, let's see, Ray Danton, Lee Snowden, Grant Williams. Okay, directed by our old friend Jack Arnold, who directed a lot of B films. And this is The Midnight Story. Tony Curtis, Marisa Pavan, and Gilbert Roland. Okay. And finally, the other one has, let me see. Yeah, here we go. One of these I haven't watched yet. I Was a Shoplifter, Scott Brady. A Woman's Vengeance, Charles Boyer. I have not watched that yet. And this is Behind the High Wall. Okay. With Tom Tully and Sylvia Sidney. This is a real surprise. A real surprise. Very good film with, well, Sylvia Sidney is a great actress. Tom Tully, kind of a B actor, but man, he came through in this one. All right. Now we're going to get to the ones that I have not yet seen. Okay. So starting off with more double dipping. This is one of my favorite science fiction movies from the 1950s. It, The Terror from Beyond Space, which I decided to upgrade just because I decided to upgrade. And I haven't watched it yet in this form, but this is a great, great movie. All right. Next up is an English film called Kind Hearts and Coronets, starring Dennis Price, Valerie Hobson, Alec Guinness, which I guess is considered to be one of the best English films ever made. So I'll be interested in getting into this. Cecil B. DeMille's Four Frightened People from the 1930s, Claudia Colbert, Herbert Marshall. Okay. Another English film, science fiction, Doomwatch, starring Ian Bannon and Judy Geeson. And don't know anything about it. Something about monsters on an island. All right, let's see. And here's a nice little silent film, Valentino, Blood and Sand, with Nita Naldi. Okay, one I've heard about. I just finished a silent film class, which we didn't watch this, so I'm kind of in a silent film mode. Next up is Sean Connery and the Anderson Tapes. Next up is All My Sons with Edward G. Robinson and Burt Lancaster. I think I have seen this on television way, way back in the day. Don't remember. James Coburn, Dead Heat on a Merry-Go-Round. Todd Todd Slaughter, Face of the Window. I've never seen a Todd Slaughter film, so this will be fun to get into. A couple of 1930s films that I never heard of before. This is called Deluge. The description sounded fascinating, so I think this is one that they was kind of lost and they had to put back together or something. I don't know. And this is The Crime of the Century, right? Gene Hirschholt. Yeah, anyway. And finally, just for the hell of it, because I like Audie Murphy, I bought volumes 2 and 3 of the Audie Murphy collection. Okay. And this one has, let's see, Destry. I don't think I've seen any of these. This is Kansas Raiders and Sierra. And the other one has, hang on, Showdown, Posse from Hell, and Hellbent for Leather. Aren't we all? Okay, folks, thanks for watching. Sorry to keep you for 16 minutes. 16 minutes of your life that should never get back. But I'm back. Hopefully this will be the beginning of a new chapter of my YouTube life. I'm babbling. Sorry, folks. But nice to see you again, and comments are always welcome. I will turn this off here.